To me, finding this work has been a massive key in changing my life. I feel it has freed me from the traumas and the demons that came from my childhood. So it's been the most liberating thing for me in my life to date. And I'm very grateful. Okay, the reason I originally came in was because I had been seeing a therapist who had actually just done the program herself, and she recommended it to me, and based on her recommendation, that's what brought me here.
Okay, great. And what kind of things were you suffering with before you came here?
A lot of emotional instability, I'd call it. I felt like I was really adrift with internally in my emotional world. I was very reactive, and I was having a lot of triggers that were sparking off those emotional reactions. I was also having a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety, and mainly around those triggers. I think a lot of it was related to childhood trauma too. So I suffered from a complex PTSD type thing, and yeah, there were just repeated moments where my brain was going down a path that I just could not control. And yeah, so for instance, someone would say or do something and I would almost feel like I was stuck in a flashback emotionally. It was very somatic. It was a feeling of what I went through in my early years, and I knew in a sense that it was happening. I had the awareness it was happening, but I had no control over it, and sometimes it would last for an hour or two. Sometimes I'd be in that for days. So yeah, it was just no control over my mind and my emotions in that way. So the lack of control, it was causing me to avoid a lot. So if I knew that I was active with a trigger inside of me emotionally, I would avoid a particular person. So I would avoid interactions so that I didn't have to reveal what was going on inside of me. I was finding it very difficult to hold that emotion myself, and I didn't want to push that onto someone else and ask them to hold it for me. I felt really vulnerable and really just not in a good place. It was also affecting my relationship with my children too. So when I was in that place, I was very short with them. I was very reactive. I would be a bit yelly and screaming at them. So I think it was affecting this, the environment of safety and security for my kids as well. My first session I came with an attitude of openness. I was very trusting of my therapist. I had a lot of respect for her and her opinion, and the fact that she had suggested it, I was willing to go the whole course. I'm not a stranger to delving within myself. I've done a lot of meditation, a lot of self-inquiry, a lot of shadow work. So I'm not afraid when stuff comes up, because it's there to be seen, to be integrated, to be healed. I've tried everything. I've done a lot of meditation. I've done tantra work, yoga, talk therapy, body talk, kinesiology. Everything helped in its own way. I've tried a lot of different things. Well, the first session, that was the introductory session. I just noticed there was space in my head. Time slowed down, and for about 2 or 3 hours I had relief from the constant background anxiety, noise, emotional stuff. It's like I could breathe. I wasn't having to hold myself together all the time with so much energy. So now I'm up to session 10. The first 3 to 4 sessions were quite intense. I was releasing a lot of stuff that I felt was I'd held within my physical being, within my psyche, and so it didn't throw me, but it wasn't. There were moments where it wasn't that pleasant. However, I had a lot of confidence in this program, so I just kept kept going. And so around about session 4 or 5, it really changed. I noticed that I wasn't holding my breath all day long. I had moments where my mind and it was quiet, my emotions were calm, and slowly over the time the tide has just turned. I'm calmer with my children. There's not the same frantic rush in the mornings. There's a calm that has started to pervade my home life, my relationships, my internal world. I suppose at the moment I'm in the middle of changing. I've just started a new job, and with that has come some fear and some anxiety that is normal as part of that process of change. And in the past, I feel like it probably would have sent me into a very dysfunctional spiral. And it's a job that in the past I found quite pressurized, being in, it's clinic work, clients coming in and out. Whereas now there is a feeling of, yes, it comes with its anxiety and its stress and its uncertainties and its challenges, but I'm able to hold it. I'm able to have a different space in my mind from which I'm coming to that job. What else? In my relationships are different too. I feel as though a lot of the things that used to drive me in my relationship was from a place of need, childhood unresolved issues. And I was trying to get those needs met through my relationships. Whereas I feel now I'm able to meet a lot of those needs within myself. A lot of those issues have integrated, I think. So I feel as though I'm having adult relationships with other adults for the first time in my life, not looking for, to resolve all of that stuff within those relationships. It's beautiful, it's lovely. I feel really fulfilled in ways that I haven't been able to in relationships before. How I feel now, I feel calm, joy. There's a lot of peace. There's a pervading sense of that I'm okay and life is going to be okay. I feel clarity in my emotions and in my mind, my thought processes. I feel a lot more able to be present in a very true and clear way. So who I was when I came in, I would say there was a sense of, there was definitely, if you can call it a franticness, an anxiety. I was anxious. There was a lot of sadness. There was hopelessness, despair. Yeah. So the advice I'd give to someone coming in for the same reasons is that for me it was worth every moment, and it has been worth every moment. Every dollar I've spent on this program has been worth it. My life is changing, my life has changed in many ways, and to just get yourself in here and do it. It means everything to me to invest in my mindset and my emotions, because if we don't have that calm base within ourselves from which to live our lives, then there's no peace. There's very little opportunity, well, in my experience, for joy, for creativity, for any of those things.